All right, y'all. Now let's hear from a true leader. Pierre Poilievre.
Thanks very much, everyone. I just got a belated haircut, and the first thing that the hairstylist said to me is, "What the hell's going on? Everything's completely out of control. It's nuts. I've never seen it like this." And she's right. But before we get to the obvious of the last 60 days of liberal chaos and the threats that weakness has invited from incoming President Trump, let's just talk about everything that was out of control before that. Housing costs, out of control, doubled after 9 years of NDP Liberals, rising faster than in any other country in the G7. Food costs, out of control after the NDP Liberal carbon tax caused grocery prices to rise 37% faster in Canada than in the United States, driving 2 million people to food banks. A quarter of our kids, according to federal data, are going to school hungry, and a quarter of our families are living in poverty. The worst inflation in 40 years, after out of control liberal deficits and money printing increased our money supply by $700 billion, or 40%. That is to say, 10 times faster than the growth in the output of our economy. Spending out of control. The deficit hit $62 billion. Remember, we were all supposed to accept the excuse that COVID caused the deficit, but as we get further and further away from COVID, the deficit actually gets bigger and bigger. The deficit, 50% bigger than it was supposed to be. A fact we found out the same day that the finance minister who was supposed to tell us about this failure resigned and blamed her boss for that failure. Immigration is out of control with a 200% increase in year-over-year population growth, causing a massive housing, social service, and job crisis. Our borders out of control, with dangerous poisons pouring in from China and Mexico, and then manufactured into deadly fentanyl that has killed 47,000 of our people. Crime, completely out of control. Violent crime up 50%. Gun.
What we are experiencing, what's it called? Carjackings. People are stealing cars left, right, and center. I think we were at like 10,000 cars nationwide a day. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone go fact check me. But it was a lot. And they were telling people, just leave your keys by the door. That's all they want is the car. That's how they were responding to the crime, okay? Telling you, just help the criminal. He won't hurt you. Just leave the keys at the door. Like, huh? It's a different world in Canada right now. It is a different world in Canada right now. It's a sad state of affairs, honestly.
Gun crime up 116%. And hate crime up 251% after 9 years of NDP Liberal, radical, woke, catch and release criminal justice policies. Everything is out of control, and now our government is out of control. We have a lame duck prime minister, rejected and fired by his own caucus, unable to respond to threats from abroad or crises that he and his party caused after 9 years at home. And why did they get rid of him? Did Liberal MPs get rid of him because they disagree with his policies, doubling the housing cost? Did they say that all of a sudden they've changed their mind on quadrupling the carbon tax up to 61 cents a liter? Is it because they feel guilty over the hell they've unleashed in our streets? No. They say he's doing a great job. It's just that Canadians unfairly don't like him anymore.
And they would never just, create some self-awareness and say, why? Why do they hate Justin so much? Because the truth is, Justin is the fall guy. But the Liberals, the party itself, is an extension of the man. Do you understand me? This is what I'm talking about. He is just a puppet to the message that the liberals are carrying as a whole. They don't care about making change and listening to Canadians for our better benefit. They just knew he wouldn't win. I mean, I don't think any liberal at this point will win, personally. And that better be the case. But they just knew, or they think, by switching the leader, it'll just distract Canadians from what the problem really is. And it's the liberals as a whole. And they didn't care. He should have resigned so long ago. If it was about Canadians, he would have resigned a long time ago, but it's not. And it's not Trudeau. It's the liberals as a whole. And the NDPs. No. NDPs are not it. Jagmeet Singh, whoever is, it's a no. No.
And that unpopularity threatens their power, paychecks, and pension.
Period.
And so, right before an election, the Liberal MPs want to elect another Justin Trudeau who has a different face. They're all Justin Trudeau. They're all just like Justin.
Period.
In the next election, I will be running against Justin Trudeau.
Yes,
whether his name is Justin Trudeau, or his name is Chrystia Freeland, or Carbon Tax Carney, or Carbon Tax Clark, they will all be Justin Trudeau. They supported everything he's done, and they promise to keep doing it. And if they say otherwise, we know they're lying, because they would have done so earlier. Let's go through the list. You have Carbon Tax Carney himself to this day. He's on the Liberal website as the Chief Economic Growth Advisor to Justin Trudeau. He hasn't even resigned from that position after Justin Trudeau has resigned himself as the leader. Presumably then, Carbon Tax Carney supports every single economic policy that has given us the worst decline in per capita GDP of any G7 country, that has doubled our debt, that has taxed our people, that has destroyed our productivity. Oh, there's one disagreement. Carbon Tax Carney doesn't think that Justin Trudeau is spending enough on heat pumps. That's the only disagreement we can find so far between Mr. Trudeau and his top economic advisor, Carbon Tax Carney. Then you have Carbon Tax Chrystia, who stormed out as finance minister.
I'm sorry. How crazy is that? They all start with C's and go with carbon tax. Listen to me. These guys are such quacks. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. Carbon Tax Chrystia. And that girl's cracked out. Speaking of C's, like literally cracked out. I'll try to include a clip of her like tweaking on a press conference. Like it was the wildest thing. And I think Justin Trudeau, as well as her and maybe some other people within the party, they're cracked out, man. They're doing drugs. Honestly, I don't think these people, they've come into money really quickly. Like I said, Justin Trudeau used to be a drama teacher turned politician, prime minister. They came into money and power really fast, and who knows, really. But let's get back to it.
Minister, the day she was supposed to introduce the fall economic update, which would show our deficit 50% bigger than she had promised only 6 months earlier. She suddenly said she objected to the costly political gimmicks on which Trudeau had been spending money, gimmicks that she had publicly supported only weeks earlier in explicit boosterism on the floor of the House of Commons. She claims now she has some disagreement with the deficits that she ran. She disowns her own economic policy. Well, she didn't do that on principle, because she stayed on as finance minister months after she learned the deficit was bigger than she had promised. Weeks after she learned the Prime Minister was throwing $4 billion away on a temporary tax trick and gimmick. She only announced she
The tax gimmick was Justin Trudeau came and announced that through December and January, he's going to cut GST, which a lot of Canadians don't even realize. Companies didn't, it wasn't like a mandate or a law. It was optional, really. A lot of them didn't change. They were saying, like, if we have to take off tax on all of our goods, because he made it that some goods like food and certain necessities were no longer taxable. If they were to do that and change everything just for this little window of time and then put everything back, it would be too costly. So a lot of these companies were like, we're not doing that. And they didn't have to. But Canadians think they're getting some kind of discount, which actually it said that it only equates to like $5 of savings or something over its time.
would resign after she learned she was fired. It was all about her. That's why they call her Carbon Tax Christia. And then there's Carbon Tax Clark. She's the queen of the carbon tax in British Columbia. She was the carbon tax queen before Justin Trudeau even got the idea. In fact, she might even have been the inspiration. Of course, BC had the first and the worst carbon tax. And Carbon Tax Clark bragged, and you can look up the quote here, bragged that BC's carbon tax was the highest in North America and that it was twice as high as the federally imposed carbon tax. So they're all Justin Trudeau. They're all just like Justin. So what are they fighting about? Given that they agree on all the same disastrous economic policies, they're fighting for themselves. Liberals are putting Liberals first. It's time to put Canada first.
Period.
Given that all of them are the same, all of them are just like Justin, let's get this decision out of the way. We need certainty now. We cannot wait. I'm calling on Justin Trudeau to do what he has the legal power to do. He can do it without his caucus supporting him. I'm calling on him to walk to Rideau Hall and announce that there will be an axe the tax election now.
He won't. Of course he won't. First of all, he knows that they need time. They need to groom some new leader to the Canadians to try to convince them by the next election, Liberals are the way. So he'll never call it, but he could. If he was really concerned about the well-being of Canadians, he would and he could, but he won't. He won't.
So that Canadians can take back control of their lives and country. The choice will be simple. Either the NDP Liberals, who tax your food, punish your work, double your housing cost, unleash crime and chaos and weakness on the world stage, or common sense Conservatives, who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, and put Canada first. We will take back control of immigration, take back control of spending, take back control of our borders, take back control of inflation, taxes, and interest rates. Take back control of the country that we knew and still love, and we will put Canada first. We will stand up and we will state clearly that Canada is a sovereign and independent country, that we will protect our integrity as a nation through strength. First of all, this means a strong economy. We need a massive bring-it-home tax cut, lowering taxes on work, investment, energy, and making stuff in Canada will bring home billions of dollars of investment and paychecks, but will also make us more economically independent and less vulnerable to threats from abroad. Second, we need a prime minister who can make the case to our economic allies on the ground in America.
Yes.
We should go to the American workers in the Midwest and their union and business leaders and say, how many jobs are you prepared to lose by hitting Canadian energy with tariffs, energy that we sell to America at discounts that create six-figure jobs for American workers? How many of those people will go out of work? How many of those hard hats will be laid down and boots will be unfilled?
We call Pierre Poilievre our Canadian Trump, and can you see why? This is how a leader should sound. Seriously. You want to threaten us with tariffs? And listen, y'all know I love me some Trump, okay? But on the other side, you want to threaten us with tariffs? We give you energy at a discount. Try me. Try me. Okay? That's what Pierre is saying right now. I double dog dare you, Mr. Trump, and see what we do. Yes, spoken like a true leader. Let's go. And I love me some Trump. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. But still, we need this in Canada, okay? These two people could get along just great and benefit both nations. The North. We are the North. But Justin can't do it. He can't do it, and whoever they would try to replace him with, they can't do it either. It's an absolutely not. No.
Because Americans will lose jobs due to that self-harm if those tariffs go ahead. We need to go to American home builders and say, we can help you build more affordable homes if your government would stop tariffing our softwood lumber. We need to go to the American tech companies and say, you could have access to our unmatched, totally reliable and clean electricity sources for your data centers. AI requires 10 times as much electricity as traditional information technology does. We have the most uranium for nuclear centers. Meta, Google, Microsoft are all buying or refurbishing their own nuclear plants to power their data centers. We can do it for them here in Canada. Cold, dry climate, lots of energy, low cost, totally reliable, 100% ally, right next door.
Exactly. It's a no-brainer. Listen, as of right now, the US dominates Canada, okay? Rightfully so. We have positioned ourselves to be extremely weak in the global economic marketplace. However, we are rich with resources, richer than y'all, Americans. And if the right leader, Pierre Poilievre, comes in and knows how to negotiate on our behalf, Canadians' behalf, and knows how to use our resources to bring business into Canada, he will be able to lower taxes and also create crazy jobs. Crazy jobs. People will need to live there. We'll get immigration with other nations outside of just Indians. No shade to the Indians, but y'all, enough, okay? I'm sorry, I'm saying it. Enough. There's too many right now. We need to mix it up a little bit. Pierre for PM. Period.
We can provide that to America.
Yes, we can.
And energy. Today, Venezuela being torn apart, with opposition leaders being attacked. And what is America going to be forced to do? Buy Venezuelan oil instead of good, clean Canadian oil. Not only should we condemn Maduro and the dictators in Venezuela for what they're doing, we should shut them off by shutting down their energy and their oil sales and replacing it with Canadian oil sales. The Americans, our friends, want Canadian oil, not Venezuelan, not Iranian, and not other dirty dictator oil from around the world.
Period.
These are the arguments that...
What? Dirty dictator oil? You have to love this guy. Literally. Isn't that something Trump would say? Trump, when this guy takes office, Trump's going to get a little taste of his own little medicine, okay? I mean, we still are no America, but we in our own right have plenty of amazing things about us. We just haven't been able to express it because we've had shitty leadership. Pierre is coming to change all that. And I'm playing this for y'all, Canadians. I'm already voting Pierre. I will leave the beautiful state of Florida and fly back to Canada just to vote for this wonderful man. He is what's going to save this country called Canada.
That a strong prime minister with the brains and backbones to lead a country would be making right now if we had a serious government.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to take back control and put our country first. That means rebuilding our economy, bringing home production, rebuilding our military, supporting a strong border, reinstating controls on immigration, and most of all, being proud of our country and unapologetic for our history. We need to honor our past and our shared values. We need to live out the dream that started with John A. Macdonald. Yes, I said John A. Macdonald, who believed in an independent and sovereign Canada. We need to uphold our heroes, stop tearing down our symbols, remind people who come here that when they're given a Canadian flag and they land on Canadian soil, that it's the greatest gift on earth.
Exactly. And you need to conform to our culture and our tradition. The Liberals seem to think that we should be inviting people into Canada and they can shit on the Canadian traditions while we're supposed to conform to theirs. Have you ever heard of such a thing? What?
Be proud to be part of the Canadian family.
Exactly.
That's what it means to be
Or go back
a proud Canadian.
Period.
That's what it means to put Canada first.
Yes.
Let's bring it home.
Let's bring
Thank
it
you.
home. Yes.
Thank you. We'll now take questions from the floor. Paul?
Do you see the difference between reactions of a Justin and a Pierre? I can let him speak. I got positive things to say. Justin is just makes my skin crawl. Literally makes my skin crawl. It is in everybody's best interest for us to do business together. What Trump is doing is for the betterment of Americans. What he is doing is for the betterment of Canadians. What Justin was doing is is for the betterment of the Liberals. Okay? They don't care about us at all, actually. So, spoken like a true leader, a true prime minister, he wants to axe the tax, drill for oil, create pipelines, and all of that good stuff, bring business into Canada, technology into Canada, places like Tesla, businesses like Tesla and all of that stuff. Come on, bring it in. Give Canadians a little break.
And when I'm prime minister, there's going to be massive. This is the message that I have for the Americans, by the way. The days of us just handing over our businesses and our jobs because of our economic vandalism by this big, fat, money-hungry government in Ottawa are over. We're going to have a fierce, free market economy that competes with every country on earth. We're going to bring it home.
Woo! Oh my gosh, that was it. That was so inspiring. Honestly, listening to Pierre Poilievre, I have a new excitement for Canada's future. Honestly, I truly do. Bring the jobs back, axe the tax, allow for us to create a market that is free and fair. Right now, the way our phone services are, internet services, all our services are dominated by like a few companies, which makes it really non-competitive at all, which means these guys get to control the marketplace. We have some of the most expensive cell phone bills, some of the most expensive internet, gas, that you name it. It is just incredibly crazy for Canadians. I don't know, y'all. If that didn't wake you up and that wasn't convincing, just move to the side. Just stay home for this election, okay? Let us handle it and we'll show you how this is going to work out for everybody. We need someone like this. We need this so badly. Pierre for PM, he is it. He is the answer. I know, I was talking to my grandma about this the other day. Conservatives have let down Canadians in the past. I get it. I totally do. But change is here, okay? And it's up to you guys to get to the polls and make sure that it happens, because we cannot afford another few years of Liberal leadership or even NDP. We just can't, guys. We just cannot. Axe the tax. Call for an election, Mr. Trudeau. Let's be done with this. You've done your due. You had your time. Move on. Stop stalling this. Let Pierre swoop into office and start doing business. Because that's what we need. 100%. That is what we need. That is it for all for tonight, guys. I am so amped for Canadians. Pierre for PM. MAGA all the way. I'm still with joining our nations in a way that makes sense. Give us the citizenship, dollar for dollar. We'll give you some energy and some other natural resources. Let's call it a day, okay? Anyways, guys, this was it. I thank you guys so much for always tuning in, and let's go. Pierre Poilievre for PM. Let's go, Canada.